David, something you said earlier this year struck me. You were explaining that once you see gender discrimination, you can't unsee it.
50% of Australia's population are not considered in the same way as the other 50%. And when you start at that point, the next question is, well, how have we got ourselves to that position? My sense is that the majority of men are not malintentioned, but because they, from really the moment of birth, have been encapsulated in the culture that actually helps define us all, they don't see the issues that are confronted by virtually all women. They are doing very well off at the moment under the existing order of things, and there is no imperative for men to think about the world from a perspective that is, well, alien to them. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Tell me a little bit about what you've observed with some of the Champions of Change group. A very interesting group. What have you observed about the changes in mindset?
The stroke of genius that Liz had was to put in one room a group of very successful men who were competitive, but started to be competitive about the sorts of things that we want to be competitive about, which is lowering the hurdles that women have to jump, increasing the opportunities that women have to reach their potential in the corporate world or in the not-for-profit world or in the public sector or in the military. And women, I think, initially concerned that a group of men were just simply getting together to tell women exactly how they should be living their lives, have had those concerns dissipate, because I think that the conversation that the male champions have had is exceptionally respectful and exceptionally positive.
And I know Liz was very firm about wanting to change the way that we look at systems. And I think we need to look at this in a systemic way. Is that a process that you've seen most of the champions go on? And have they become evangelists for it?
Yes, is the short answer. Some have, because of their personalities, have felt quite comfortable, stepping forward and making some really dramatic changes to their places of work. But then also the focus on a whole range of things, 50-50, if not, why not, the panel pledge that people are making. That's given other men the confidence to think, well, why would we not want to be part of that? The corporate world wants to think about the philanthropic contributions that those organisations will make to society. They need to do it through a perspective that thinks about where the support will be provided, and is that support being provided where it is needed most. We could give more emphasis to those areas that benefit women and girls, because they at the moment are still travelling behind.
I was involved with ANZ's program, The Equal Future, and one of the things that they did was to top up their women employees' superannuation accounts if they were under $50,000 by 1% per year. Of course, then you get people saying, that's not fair. How do you counter that? Okay. What's the way of, in a nutshell, responding?
There is no more delicate a matter to take in hand, nor more doubtful in its success than to set up as a leader of change, for he who innovates will have for his enemies all those who are well off under the existing order of things. And I've just seen every woman's head in the audience nod. So for the blokes who missed it, we are the guys who are well off under the existing order of things, because the rules are largely written by Anglo-Saxon men, and we've been getting away with it for a long time. And if you're challenged by that statement, well, okay, but I got to be where I was because I was white, because I was Anglo-Saxon, and because I was male. So you have to have a conversation with men about this, and you have to spell out the fact that, we are going to even this up, and there are going to be, as there always are, winners and losers. And if the status quo isn't as well off under the existing order of things, it may be more men that are losers than women in this regard. But get over it, because we've got to look at society more broadly, and we've got to ask ourselves the essential question: how much talent is being denied? How many women living on the street in Australia right now have got so much to offer this country, but are never going to get the chance? And all of the literature now points to the fact that more diverse and inclusive workforces are more capable, indeed in a corporate sense are more profitable. So why would you not want to level the playing field? Because you're actually going to see your P&L improve as a result.
Investing in women and girls in developing economies, we know, repays almost immediately in families and communities at a much higher level than with men. It's funny then that we don't, in our own developed economy, apply that same logic.
No, and indeed, when you think about charities or philanthropic organisations in Australia, you don't have the same delineation. It's just not there. With a couple of exceptions. So the Big Issue has established what is called the Big Subscription. If you subscribe to the Big Issue, that money that is paid in actually goes to support women who put the magazine together, and in doing so they are supported so that they don't have to stand on a street. It's much harder for those women to stand on a street. Not only is there threats of violence, they are primary carers in many cases, as well as being homeless. It's just not going to work for them. Finding opportunities for them to have support given to them at a stage of life that allows them hopefully in the future to reach their potential is a wonderful idea, and the inevitable question can then be asked, well, why are not more organisations thinking perhaps a little bit more laterally on this and providing a similar approach? I think we're at a tipping point in Australia at the moment. Issues around culture, around diversity, around gender, around inclusivity, around opportunities for people who have been denied them have come to the fore in a very particular way. The conversations now are changing around philanthropy in this country, and that's a very good thing too, because stories that we have not been telling ourselves are starting to get an airing.
What do the people in this room do? The next time there's a meeting, the next time you're in a discussion, I mean, they'll have a wonderful toolkit. And can I tell you, this toolkit is outstanding. It's just fantastic. But what do they do? So they've got the toolkit, but how do they start the conversation, and what are they aiming for?
So when the next decision is made about where that effort is applied, you do it considering who needs support the most. There would be some opportunities, I would think, for you to start a conversation when the next decision is made as to whether we could just look at this with a gender lens and consider how women and girls could be given the chance through your contributions to actually reach their potential. Because if they do, we're going to be a lot better off than where we are now.
How are you engaging with the religious organisations? Now, some of them are doing great jobs within their own groups, but others are not.
Gender discrimination, domestic violence, the denial of opportunity doesn't have a postcode, doesn't have a pay packet, and it doesn't have a place of worship. So we can all be better. I would encourage all faiths to think about the future and the world that they want to contribute to creating.
I'm just wondering, David, whether or not you think that women can deliver the message that you're giving as powerfully as you can, and will men listen to women?
My own view here is that men listen to other men more completely on this matter. Men's ears are fairly closed to these matters and they should be more open. It's not that women aren't as articulate, as passionate, as committed, and indeed much more expert than someone like me who's come to these matters late in life. It's just that I've found that in audiences of men, male voices are listened to. I care deeply now about these issues, and I think that I've got some contributions to make, and if it cuts through in a way that hasn't cut through before, then it would be remiss of me to stop talking about it.
One of the interesting things about the new media, this is a way women are getting a voice now, and yet the abuse and the anonymous abuse is just absolutely appalling. And how do you think we should be dealing with that?
Carol, I don't know. This is the status quo trying to reaffirm itself. I would think that easily 3/4 of the issues that I dealt with as the Chief of Army stem from inappropriate use of social media or using social media as a vehicle. Social media, it is a great servant, it's a cruel master, and it's being hijacked at the moment. There are no norms within it, there are no rules within it, and people are being badly damaged to the point of suicide.
We all suffer from a thing called in-group bias, whereby we're all more comfortable and favour people like ourselves, and people therefore will choose to be in a team of people like themselves rather than a diverse team. So that is a problem for organisations, isn't it? Because homogenous teams will discriminate against minorities.
Diversity is in fact just, I think, can often be just a tick in the box. We're diverse. You know, we've got X percentage of women, and so we're okay. And that's not it at all. We are talking about a fair go for everybody, but we are talking very specifically about the tangible benefits of an inclusive workforce where everybody has the chance to reach their potential. I'm not saying that we're on the road to salvation, but certainly the world is changing, and if the corporate world isn't looking at this there and considering it, they're losing.
Thank you, David.
Okay, thank you, Catherine.